Good morning, Pantsers. This is Food Week. So, food. My relationship with food has changed a lot in the past few years. It's kind of weird. I didn't learn to cook until I was like 30. When I was growing up, I learned to make some things, like sort of basic stuff. I could produce food for myself if I needed to, but I never really learned to cook meals, that kind of thing. And then when I moved out, I was rooming with my best friend, and she's a very good cook, and she really enjoys cooking, so she always did the cooking. And as an adult, I've never really lived anywhere that had like a real kitchen. Like where I live now, as you know, does not have a functional oven, and it's only really got a kitchenette anyway, and most of the stuff in it doesn't work. So, I've never really had a real kitchen anywhere I've lived since I moved out of my parents' house. So I just never really learned to cook real meals. As you know, my parents live just a few minutes drive from where I live. My mom started working evenings. Well, she works during the day too. She works like all the hours of the day. She has like 5 jobs. She started working in the evenings, and so I started going over to make dinner so that dinner would be ready when she got home, so that my parents wouldn't end up having to eat dinner at like midnight or whatever. This meant that I had to start cooking actual meals, which is kind of weird because I'm a vegetarian and I also can't eat gluten, and my parents are not vegetarians and they are not gluten-free, so I end up making these really weird meals sometimes because I end up cooking things that I don't eat. I've been a vegetarian for a long time. The gluten-free thing didn't become a thing in my life until a couple years ago. The first year of the collab, I think. And that was something I worked out on my own, and I had to, by gradually eliminating gluten from my diet. So I had to kind of get used to not eating things with gluten in it, and that's been kind of a long process. I've gotten pretty good at it now. I don't usually gluten myself accidentally anymore, at least not very often, which is nice. My goal now is baked goods. The problem is that, I live in the middle of nowhere, and there's not really a lot of selection for things like gluten-free flours. They're hard to find. I have to order them from places. It's been a very small experiments with pre-made mixes and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's my plan. I want to bake more, I guess. I've done a little bit of research and stuff. It's a question of getting supplies together and actually making things, So this gives me a chance to play with recipes, and I like recipes. I've never really, been a cooking sort of person, but I like recipes. There's a frustrated mad scientist in me. So that's my plan, to become more conversant with gluten-free baking. I guess. I want to stop feeling like I can't eat things. That's what I want. I want to have more access to more variety of food. I'm tired of not having access to bread products that I can actually eat. As you may recall, I was sick last week. I'm still sick this week, but I'm a lot better. So hopefully next week I will actually be operating at my usual level of unhealthiness again. Oliver's having some problems with the story game transcript document. I'm going to try and get that sorted out, and once that's all straightened out, my plan is to upload a story game installment sometime later this week.